So now it's time to turn it up. Surf the radio waves as we begin to burn it up. We all up in your area like landscape, definitely bringing you the Powerslams pancakes. It's a mandate that you tune in. It's time to move out so we can move in and recognize that this is no illusion. I'm here to clear the air so that there is no confusion. It all started off in the book of Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with who he thought was his nemesis. And when the man saw he couldn't overpower him, he touched his hip but he really couldn't devour him. And from that point then we hear a name change, rearrange the game, so now we gotta change lanes. So I'm here to let you know it's time to listen to the Pancake and Powerslams show. Let's go! Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslams. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslams. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslams show. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslams. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslams. Turn it up, turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslams show. Turn it up.
I'm going to inject a lethal dose of poison.
On NXT, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what's been going on. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Chris Featherstone, and this is episode 489 of the Pancakes and Powerslams show. My man, Evan Tech Pratt, will be on in just a few moments. Man, look, we're about to have some fun as we do always. Already got some Ask Dr. Chris questions ready to rock and roll. My man Aaron was like, you know what, listen, you know I'm here for the music. You know, that's what I do for y'all, man. You know, I DJ, so I got to make the intro nice and chill for y'all, man. So it's been a thing now. So now I'm going to give y'all like the hottest chill hop songs every single week, because it's became its own gimmick now about my intro music. So that one's from Dry Hope, a chill hop artist called Dry Hope. It's called Folds. So awesome song, man. I've been banging that song throughout the day today, chilling. I like listening to chill hop while I'm working out, actually. So I like to listen to Christian rap and chill hop. Those are my two favorite types of music to listen to while I'm working out and listening to podcasts too. So, yeah, man. So, PNP Nation, what is going on, everybody? Ricky in the building, of course. First time interview. Yeah, that was first time me interview Stevie Ray. I've interviewed Booker T before, but that was the first time me interviewing Stevie Ray. So it was really cool, man. Awesome interview. Lots of fun. It was fun, man. It was definitely fun to interview Stevie Ray today. Let's see. Thoughts on the releases. Yeah, so here's the super crazy part of the NXT releases to me, that none of them was really a surprise. I was slightly surprised by Mercedes Martinez, but I know that she's like 40 years old, so it didn't surprise me too much. But I mean, everybody else, like Kona Reeves, like he tried to, they try to do a little bit for him, but he never really managed to do much. But there was a couple people, especially what's the dude from Diamond Mine? Tyler. Gosh, what's his name? Tyler Rust. Yeah, Tyler Rust. So they let him go, which was weird. Like they were trying to make Diamond Mine a thing, on television. And so that was odd. Leon Ruff, they let him go too. And I mean, gave him the North American Championship, which, and then was involving him in a couple of storylines, and then they let him go. I mean, granted, he hasn't really been doing too much lately the past few months. It was kind of like a one shot. I mean, he stayed in the picture for a little bit, but I was surprised that they gave him the North American Championship, but he can go in the ring. But they let him go. That was weird to see that. Everybody else, it wasn't too much of a surprise, but I'm telling you, y'all know I'm a huge Bronson Reed guy. Like, Bronson Reed is my favorite in NXT. And I think that he really could have been like super, like huge on NXT. And I even said that I think he should be the one who defeats Karrion Kross during WrestleMania weekend. And it was just nuts to me that they let him go. Because they had him lose the title to Swerve Scott, Shane Strickland, Isaiah Swerve Scott. And the goal, from what I heard, the purpose for that, the reason why his reign was relatively short, was they were grooming him for the main roster, because he was actually competing in some dark matches. And to know that they were grooming him from the main roster just to find out that he was among the list of cuts, that was just weird to me. It didn't make any sense at all. So it really seems as if they're making some different moves with NXT. I heard a few things of where they may go, but it really seems like they're making some really odd moves with NXT. And it's also weird because Karrion Kross is in NXT, and he's coming and he's moving over to the main roster with the NXT Championship. So it's just very weird to me. I know that on TakeOver 36, he's supposed to be going against Samoa Joe, which I imagine Samoa Joe's going to win. And then what? Cole? I mean, like, Cole is supposed to be with O'Reilly, and Cole was kind of messing around. Like, he was kind of feuding with Joe a little bit. So Cole and Joe, but at the same time, there's some people who don't want to go up to the main roster, like a Tommaso Ciampa and a Johnny Gargano. And then where's that going to leave them? Because, rightfully so, they're like, look, we want to stay on NXT because we know that we're going to be mistreated, underutilized on the main roster. So, and then all that big old bunch of talent on the NXT roster now, how many of them are going to actually go over to the main roster? So it's just some weird stuff going on right now with WWE, especially from the NXT standpoint. And again, I was so shocked. I mean, I don't know what was wrong. I mean, like Bronson Reed really had it all. Like he had his mic, his promo could have got a little better. You know, he's an Aussie. But at the same time, like, you know, his accent wasn't like super strong to like take, you know, lose the interest, you know, or get distracted by it. It was cool. Could have been a little bit more aggressive in his promo, but you know that takes, you know, that works. I mean that comes with time. Reigns' promos wasn't that strong, and now they're very strong. And so he had a look. He had like a Bam Bam Bigelow type of look to him, mixed with like a Vader, you know what I mean? And so he had that look. Super agile. Again, it reminds me of he reminded me of a Bam Bam Bigelow Vader type of deal. Great entrance. You know, I like the whole thing, you know, that he did with his hand, the War Ready NXT theme song was one of the best theme songs. It was actually my favorite theme song in NXT. And it was just super weird to me that they would make that move of he had some of the best potential NXT. I mean, if the point is you're grooming people on NXT to become future stars in the main roster, Bronson Reed was exactly your guy. He started off in the breakout tournament. He won the North American Championship. He was super over by the fans, super agile, really good in the ring, and you let him go. That was just the weirdest. That was the weirdest thing to me that they let him go. I wish I was a fly on the wall in the executive meeting of why Bronson Reed was a choice to let go from the list of talent that was let go. I really don't understand that. Elvis is asking, do you think the Tennessee Titans have a great shot at making the Super Bowl? I always think the Tennessee Titans have a great chance of making the Super Bowl. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not sold on Ryan Tannehill. Like, I'm just not. I you know, he's made a huge jump from when we had Marcus Mariota, you know, and so it was a good decision to shift him to shift him in place of Mariota. There's just some really good college, you know, like a Ryan Leaf. Unfortunately, you know, there's just some college, you know, football players who are really, really good, Heisman level, that just don't make it, you know, in the NFL. You know, unfortunately, Troy Smith, you know, won the Heisman and didn't really do very well in the NFL. And you know, and there's some like really, really good ones that just don't make it. And Mariota is one of those people, unfortunately, because he just really didn't get. I mean, he was okay, but he really didn't gel well with the Titans, you know, style. Vrabel's doing a good job coaching, but I don't know. I don't know. I hope Tannehill is more consistent, but we did, man. Listen, there was way too many fourth quarter comebacks and having large leads last season, and then, you know, allowing the other team to come back and going down to the wire. It was just way too much of that going on last year. And I don't want that. I want, you know, a dominant quarterback. And I don't know. I'm not sold on Tannehill. He's got some time, but I'm not sold on him. All right. Looks like my man will be here in 5 more minutes. And let's see here. Yeah, so I pretty much answered this for Chris. Okay, now I watched I watched up to the Dragunov promo and the face off with Pete Dunne. Dragunov and Walter will be a pretty good match if it's anything like their first one. The first one's, a couple years later, they're just, still talking about it. So really, really hard hitting. So it should be pretty interesting that and I think that was a good call to have them put it on the takeover pay-per-view too. So it should be pretty good. But what I think is going on is it seems like the biggest one. There's a few rumors, but the biggest rumor from what I've heard was they're just going to overhaul NXT and make it kind of go back to the roots as far as it being a developmental brand. And so, which is weird if that's the case, because you had Samoa Joe going to NXT, which I think is a really good call, because they weren't using him well at all on the main roster, and ended up having him commentate, which I think he was a pretty good commentator, by the way, color commentator. So yeah, it was. We'll see. I really think it should be a avenue for underutilized stars to kind of get their bearings again. And it was like that for a while. Like people would go back down in NXT, like Cesaro did. What's his name? Oh gosh, Tyson Kidd. I kept thinking of Wilson. I keep thinking TJ Wilson. Tyson Kidd, Jinder Mahal. There was a lot of people who went back down to NXT, and it really helped their career. Zack Ryder did with the Hype Bros. Him and when he came down and started teaming up with Mojo Rawley. So there was a lot of people who actually benefited going back down to NXT, and I think it should be that way. It kind of gave Ember Moon kind of like a fresh type of light, of a fresh start. Although they've been totally misusing Ember Moon, and it's been about 3 weeks, almost a month since she's wrestled, and she lost to Dakota Kai, just some random clean loss to Dakota Kai. And I despise how they're using Ember Moon. It seems like they're not willing to. And then she actually was supposed to go against Saray tonight, or last night, and because of injury, she got pulled from it. So unfortunately, as much as Ember Moon is my favorite female talent in NXT, but as much as I'm a big fan of Ember Moon, I got a feeling that she's going to be on the chopping block next, and it's sad to say that, and I despise saying that because I don't want it to happen. I want her to be NXT champion, women's champion, but I don't see her career in WWE lasting very long. Because I think because of her injuries, I'm just not. It was one interview that I heard of her, and she was talking about like not understanding why she chose the Eclipse as a finisher because it's going to bite in the butt. Now she's 32, and man, just that Eclipse is just. Talk about spine, back, tailbone, all types of hurtness when you get 40 years old. So yeah, but it's an amazing finisher, awesome creative idea, but not sure how that's going to last. But yeah, she's been getting some injuries, and WWE is really big on why am I paying you to be injury prone. So that's why I'm pleasantly surprised, but I'm surprised that they're giving Jinder another chance because he's been racking up some injuries lately too. So it seems like they're giving gender a chance for the sake of kind of zapping Drew back. So which is cool, which I'm happy with. I'm happy the fact that they're putting Drew more of a babyface role, because he was starting to get the heat and stuff like that. People were like, man, I don't want to experience Drew McIntyre when he comes back. He's gotten all the heat, blah, blah, blah. So we shall see. We shall see. Yeah. Let's see who else we got. Vince is unhappy. Michael's saying Vince is unhappy that Triple H changed it from developmental show to being a popular third brand. I can see that. How do I get these interviews? Connections, and I have a lot of people's phone numbers on my in my Rolodex, in my list of connections. So, a lot of times through my phone, through connections, through wrestlers I know, putting to get a word for me, emails, my undergrads in PR. So, I'm able to communicate effectively through email for these talents. I'll message them with my resume. Essentially, I'm giving them a pitch. It's kind of like a border plate, with us PR guys, just kind of putting my brand out there, and they realize that I'm just not another mark promote a mark channel that doesn't really carry themselves in a good manner. There's just kind of marking out, and someone wouldn't want to get an interview for, because it's just another mark channel. There's some professionalism. There's some there's a level of expectation, and my resume speaks for itself, when it comes to stuff like that. So it actually helps, the fact that I've been doing interviews for so long, that I've done hundreds of interviews. And so wrestlers are more prone to look at a body of work before saying yes to an interview. And that actually helps a lot. If shout out to those who believed in me early. Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, believed in me early. Crimson believed in me early. Tyler Rex believed in me early. JTG believed in me early. Those are some interviews that kind of helped me along the way, kind of build up my resume. And then, of course, the platforms that I wrote for definitely helped me with my resume, because I actually was using Pancakes and Powerslams as a podcast hub to interview people for the platforms that I wrote for. So, for instance, Johnny Gargano with Sports Illustrated, Billy Gunn with Sports Illustrated, Sean Davari for Sports Illustrated, Goldberg for Digital Spy, Fox Sports, Rikishi, Brandy Rhodes for Fox Sports. So Jake Roberts for Fox Sports. So there's a lot of there was a lot of interviews that I actually pitched from Pancakes and Powerslams to to be on Sports Illustrated, and I wrote multiple pieces for Sports Illustrated and Fox Sports. And I almost got an opportunity for ESPN too, but It never came through. But yeah, there's just opportunities that I've been blessed with. I've been blessed with. Glory to God. There's interviews that can't kind of became shoot like. Yeah, it kind of became shoot like. But Marty Elias was the only person who the first like kind of shoot interview that was supposed like that was kind of billed as a shoot interview. So, and Marty's my guy, man. Well deserved accolades as a professional wrestling referee in mind. Definitely helping out with with the Glow series and things like that. Awesome dude. Aaron's asking, with all these cuts, do you think Vince sells? I heard he might want to sell to Disney. I've been asked that before. As long as Vince McMahon has air in his lungs, I don't see him selling the company, because that would cause him to do one of two things. One, it would cause him to step away from the company and just kind of ride off in the sunset. And I think he's just too attached to the WWE as his baby to ever let it go. If he does sell it to someone, that means that they probably won't have him be the top executive. That means he would have bosses. Like right now, the stockholders are kind of like, accountable for him, right? Because he doesn't own all of WWE. He's majority stockholder, but he doesn't own all of WWE. There's multiple stockholders. So, but he's still the boss. He's still the boss of the company. If WWE gets owned by Disney, that means that he would have higher ups that he would have to answer to. And I don't see Vince doing that. The same thing with like WCW. Like Eric Bischoff was the head of WCW. He was the head honcho of WCW, but he still had to answer to many other people, including Ted Turner, ultimately, right? Because it was, it's his. He owned, WCW and Turner. So yeah, ultimately he had to answer to people. It was his company, but he had to answer to people. Case in point, the reason why they, Vince McMahon bought out WCW, because eventually the owners of WCW, it became AOL Time Warner. So, and they were like, nah, we don't want this. we don't want this stuff anymore. So Vince McMahon, you run the risk of doing that if you get owned by Disney, just like WCW was owned by Turner. Disney says, you know what? Hey, this isn't giving us the money that we want. We're looking at the numbers and it's not doing what it's supposed to. Now we're going to go ahead and drop it. So kind of runs that risk. Dion's asked Dr. Chris, thoughts on Bray's release. Do you think the Fiend character did him in? I heard Bray was going to introduce a new character before he was released. Do you know what the character was? So he tweeted about it today or yesterday, and he kind of had like a picture, a little picture of it. But here's the thing. There's been so many characters that he's introducing. Bray is just so creative. He's just such a creative mind. And Vince Russo and I talked about this on our Writing with Russo. So go check that out on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube page. And so just the synopsis is Bray Wyatt's so creative that he shouldn't be relegated he shouldn't be relegating his creativity to just wrestling. He should be an actor. He should be the Fiend should be a character like similar to Freddy Krueger or like Jason or something like that. Like it should be a character. He should be like he should make make himself known as being some type of horror flick guy, and so he's so creative. And he can make much more money than he did in the WWE and less work, as acting. So I think he should end up acting. I really think so. I think his mind transcends the WWE business, this professional wrestling business too. And I'm not going to spoil a really cool idea I have for Bray Wyatt returning when he returns to wrestling. I have a really cool idea. And check out the Sportskeeda Wrestling page that should be released within the next day or two or so. But I had a really cool idea of how Bray Wyatt what should be the immediate future of Bray Wyatt when he comes back. I have a really cool idea about that. Chris is asking, I know you've touched on it before, but the way they had TBS act on NXT is just annoying now. LA Knight is so good on the mic, and I can see him losing a takeover, which I won't like. LA Knight, he's one of the best promos in the business, and he has been for years. His promo is awesome. I like Cameron Grimes, man. I like the fact that they're really making it work for him as a babyface, and I like the fact that we're seeing storylines. I said this all the time. Most of what I watch on wrestling should be to develop characters outside of the ring. I don't care about match after match after match after Canadian Destroyer after top rope moonsault. We see that all the time. That's nothing different. What is different is the cliffhangers, investing in the characters for me to get into the storylines. And so I think Ted DiBiase was a good I definitely think he was a good addition, a very good addition to the storyline with Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, because it actually started off with Cameron Grimes and DiBiase, and Cameron Grimes was the heel. And then DiBiase kind of played the heel route, of course, but he kind of healed it up eventually because it was kind of with Cameron Grimes, and then Grimes and he was kind of with LA Knight. Cameron Grimes he kept one-upping Cameron Grimes. So that was kind of baby-facey. I mean, it was baby-facey. And then being with LA Knight was more heel-like, and then LA Knight wins the title, punches DiBiase, and now he's like a babyface again. So, it's cool, but I think he is a good addition to the angle. And it goes to show that this has been going on for months, and it's still not boring to me because it's interesting. Like eventually, that Cameron Grimes is going to get his comeuppance. He's going to win the $1 Million Championship, but this has been going on for months, and it goes to show. Like I'm more interested in the $1 Million Championship, an unrecognized title since its inception. As many people as had the $1 Million Championship, Virgil and Goldust and Ted DiBiase Jr. As many people as had the $1 Million Championship. It's an unrecognized title. But the unrecognized championship in WWE, I'm more interested in that than any other championship angle right now. I am. I just, I like the fact that Roman's being placed against Cena, to make Roman look good, to make Roman continue to look dominant. I like that. Goldberg Lashley, I don't care about. Everybody knows I'm a Goldberg mark, but I don't care about him and Lashley because it's predictable. Lashley's going to beat him. And Goldberg, unfortunately, his status, how he's been over the past couple years, beating Goldberg doesn't really mean much anymore. You know what I mean? So and that's sad. The U.S. title, I like Damian Priest, but the way they're building that is just awful. Intercontinental Championship. I mean, I really like Shinsuke. I love what they're doing with Shinsuke, but they haven't really built Apollo up enough to make me care about Shinsuke winning the Intercontinental Championship. I mean, it'll be cool when he does, because I definitely think he's going to beat Apollo for it. But they're not doing anything to make me interested at all. I mean, the tag team championships, I definitely don't care. I mean, I don't care about Orton and Riddle, against Omos and AJ. I don't know. I'm not really into it. SmackDown titles, Usos and the Mysterios. That's a cool feud. It's decent. It's a decent feud. I'll give it that. There's some investment in that feud. It doesn't feel like we're just kind of throwing it together. So I'll give them that, because there's some history to that. So I'm cool with that. But for most of the title matches, most of the title feuds right now, I just don't care about, unfortunately. Let's see. Yeah, Dutch thinks he's ready to sell. Yeah. I don't know. Cuomo stepping down. He was in some fire, man. He was in some fire. So we shall see. Never interviewed Hogan. Talked to his agent a couple of times. His agent was pretty cool, though, actually. Hogan blocked me, though. Hogan blocked me. I think I don't know why, but I think Hogan blocked me because JTG used to write for me when I used to be a part of, when I used to manage the floor seat. I basically got the reins of the Sports Daily. They gave me the reins to start whatever I wanted and build the site from the ground up. And I end up managing. I named it the floor seat. I hired on JTG to write for me, and I hired on Marty Elias to write for me. And so I actually it went from nothing, from the ground up, to getting over 300,000 views monthly. So it was actually pretty. It was actually a pretty good accomplishment of my journalism career when I managed that and hired them to on to write for me. It was pretty cool, actually. And I think that Hogan blocked me when JTG wrote a article about Hogan during his whole, racist shenanigans. So I don't know why. I know Cody blocked me too. I don't know why Cody blocked me too. I don't remember ever interacting with these people. I don't know how they know me or what would make them. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, but I'm thinking in my head. Okay, well, hey, they know me, so there you go. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here he is, my man Evan Tech Proud. How are you tonight, my man?
I'm good. I'm not gonna let no one kill my creation.
My creation.
Myself. AW messed up NXT. I wanted to be greedy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill it myself.
Man, I was looking at the Nash Austin. It was actually pretty good. All of Austin. I think Austin's podcast is probably my favorite. I really enjoy the Broken Skull sessions. I've watched all of them. I think I've watched all of them. And Godfathers was good. Foley's was good. I really like Nash's. I think I tend to forget how close Austin and Nash was. Austin called Nash one of his best friends. I was like, interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, all of them
really good.
Flares, both takers.
Mm-hmm.
Kane. I mean, I think it's maybe like 3 or 4 I haven't watched, but most of them are good now. You got Lashley, who I got a chance to interview before. Good guy. Just that's gonna be interesting because he's legit soft spoken. He's cool. He's real. Just chill.
Yeah.
They got Austin. They got him, Lashley on there with Austin, which is cool. So, but yeah, that's one of the best ones. Yeah, it's crazy world of wrestling, man. You got NXT people getting cut.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
NXT about to be another WCW power plant, or OVW, or FCW.
Right. Another power plant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. Bro.
Chris is asking, why do you think the writing or just shows difference between Raw and SmackDown, being SmackDown's 100 times better than Raw, as you know? Yeah, I bet SmackDown's way better than Raw. Here's the thing. Vince for SmackDown, they don't have any leverage. With USA, like, as Dusty Rhodes would say, WWE Raw, baby, is the mothership. It's the mothership, baby. What I mean? And so it's they're the flagship show of USA. I mean, just WWE period, but specifically USA. And they've got leverage to USA. The USA have got what? Christy Knows Best and a couple other things. You know what I mean? Like they don't have I mean, they really don't have a lot of shows, a lot of primetime shows that really keeps their they really don't have a lot of things that keeps their show up. That keeps their network, like people want to see it like live every week. Raw is there every week.
Nonsense, Burn Notice and White Collar.
Right. Walker Texas Ranger.
Back in the day with Stripperella. CSI. What's up, guys? Ricky, I'm not sure what you mean. That's it. It's nothing new. Christy Knows Best.
Yep.
Versus CSI and Law and Order. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Let's see here. He'll run for Goldberg? No. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Renegade.
I don't see that. Yeah, Renegade.
Do you feel that? I mean, I feel Lashley is going to retain, but do you feel they might swerve and have?
I'm cool with that. By the way, Mike, definitely.
That'd be cool. Do you feel that they're going to have Goldberg beat Lashley? Or you think they're going to have Lashley retain?
I don't think. Yeah, I don't see Goldberg winning. I don't see it. It really seems as if Goldberg is going to he's going to lose against Lashley. It just seems like that's kind of what he's doing nowadays. Like he's just putting people over.
Lost to Strowman. He lost to Strowman. He lost.
Is that you?
Sorry about that. He lost to Strowman. He lost to Drew. That's it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the past couple times he lost.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, he's Taker.
Oh yeah, Taker.
Yeah.
He done lost. What, the last 3-4?
Yeah, last 3. Yeah.
Shows up to lose.
He beat Ziggler, but
he beat Ziggler. He beat the Fiend. Well, Bray. He beat Ziggler. He beat Bray.
Yeah, that was in the beginning, but he lost. If you think about it, his whole deal, beat Lashley. I mean, he beat Lesnar, which was still a huge surprise. Beat Lesnar. Beat
before that he beat Owens.
No. He beat Lesnar first. That was his first match back. Was Survivor Series. And then he beats Owens to win the title. Then he lost the title to Lesnar. And then
he beat Ziggler.
He beat Ziggler when he came back. No, I think that was before. I think it was after Taker. Wasn't it?
No, he beat Ziggler before.
Before Taker? I knew it was SummerSlam. I thought it was SummerSlam. I thought he beat SummerSlam. I thought he beat Ziggler after Taker.
No, he beat. Was it? How was all guys? Was Ziggler before Taker? After? I thought it was before.
I remember because I think he came back because it was like he kind of redeemed himself after that Taker debacle. All right, all right, so this is for all his matches from 2017. From 2016. Beats Brock. He was in the Royal Rumble. He was eliminated. Beat Owens. Lost to Brock. And then Taker. Yeah, so Ziggler was after Taker.
Okay.
Taker was Super Showdown June of 19, and then he comes back 2 months later in August of 19 and beats Ziggler. Then he beats The Fiend, lost to Goldberg, lost to Drew. So wins 1, 2, 3, 4, and losses 1, 2, 3. Wait, 4, 4 and 4.
Yeah, he'll be 4 and 5. He leaves the lot Lashley.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 4 and 4. So he beat he beat Lesnar, Owens, Dolph, and Fiend. Lost to Lesnar, Taker, Strowman, Drew. And then in the Royal Rumble, he got eliminated in Royal Rumble. So yeah, so he'll be losing to Lashley. So he'll be 4 and 5 with someone who was 173 and 0. Now he's going to be 4 and 5, essentially coming back. So
it's the mystique of Goldberg, and he still sells tickets, puts butts in seats, but looks at the state of WWE that they got to call upon the legends of yesteryear to make sure that you got some kind of pop for SummerSlam, as opposed to anybody currently there.
Yeah.
When we talk about their current model, like you said, Cena's the last big star that can be, or that can be bigger than the Machine. After that, there's nobody else that's going to be that. Reigns is the biggest star they have right now. Currently, he's not bigger than the Machine. They're going to keep him only but so big, but that's WWE's fault.
Yep.
Once again, we look at the homegrown talent since 2002. We said this: Cena, Brock, Batista, Orton. That's 4. That's it. You want to add Reigns, even though Reigns is newer generation? Let's add Reigns. 5. So you talking almost 20 years, you only made 5 homegrown stars. I'm not talking about stars that was big in TNA or Impact or RH or WCW or New Japan. Legit WWE homegrown stars. Far as that's box office stars that people know outside of wrestling, there's main evented manias, there's been in movies that people that ain't watched wrestling in years and know.
Yeah.
Cena, Orton, Brock, Batista, Reigns. 5 in 20 years. So as I said before, us being big sports fans, just imagine the great for sports, baseball, the farm system. You got a team in 20 years, you only produced 5. I mean, I know baseball is different, but you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And anytime, I know I still consider wrestling a sport. People want to call it entertainment, but I mean, and that's even more the fact that WWE, where you have more aspect of controlling things for who you want to build. I mean, 5.
Yeah.
Homegrown. I mean, you have the Edges, you have the Christians, you have the Zigglers, you have the people that are big names, but they're not on that level. 5 in 20 years.
Yeah.
This is all common hint back to WWE, because remember during the Monday Night Wars, what was the thing he was getting on WCW about? You're not trying to build new stars, blah, blah, blah. You still have Hogan and Savage and Piper, Nash
Yeah,
and
but they
Hall,
built Goldberg though. Goldberg
and
is
Sting, and they was getting on there. We're making these stars. Well, 20 some odd years later, 25 years later, what are you doing now?
nothing.
And I know
Um,
James has said that he made several stars, Stone Cold, The Rock, Eddie, and Benoit. That's true, but that's Eddie was known internationally, so was Benoit. Their example of stars that was known elsewhere, and WWE was able to catapult, which is true, but they're not homegrown WWE stars. Stone Cold, once again, WCW. He became a legend in WWE. The Rock, that's a different generation. You had The Rock and Stone Cold.
yeah.
So that's sad, and I'm not against WWE at all. I mean, we all love them, but I think Cena, a buddy of mine sent me this yesterday. I think Cena said something about that, didn't he, about WWE going back to older people and trying to rely on the older, legends. What does that say for the future state? Let's really think about this now. If it wasn't for Goldberg, let's remove Lashley and Reigns, and Lashley isn't WWE homegrown. What big stars do you have in WWE right now? Remove Reigns. Suppose Reigns, hypothetically, Reigns ain't around. No Lashley.
As far as people who look like they transcend the business, nobody.
Nobody.
Because Seth is a big star, but he doesn't have that transcending the business feel to him whatsoever. Actually, that's it.
Now somebody
Nobody
said,
is. Even Owens, none of them. None of them feel like they transcend the business. All of them feel like they can just be booked into, they're under the hand of the WWE. None of them feel like they have leverage, when it comes to, their brand. So
somebody did ask CRC, Christopher Ryan Cooper, to who's going to be AW homegrown stars. I mean, you got the Darbys,
Darby Allin for sure.
Page.
No, he was an ROH guy. He was known for ROH. Yeah, that's a good question, Christopher.
Yeah,
as far as homegrown stars,
what's
up,
Darby.
Alonzo?
I think that's it, right? Was there anybody else that Scorpio Sky, Ethan? Most of them was.
They were.
Yeah.
Scorpio Sky was real big on the Indies, and SCU was ROH.
Britt Baker.
Yeah, but she was known though. I mean, she jobbed a couple of times.
MJF.
No, MJF was known in MLW. That's how he became a big star. He was way over in MLW. He became a star. He became known in AEW because of MLW with Court Bauer. I really can't think of anybody other than Darby. I mean, Darby's really the only one as far as like a homegrown star for sure. Yeah, I mean, I know that Darby was in a couple indie play. I think he was in CZW, but I mean, CZW is not a big recognized. Yeah, but it was still though. They still didn't build. He wasn't homegrown though. To be fair, he wasn't homegrown. I mean, he became super over. Not a lot of people knew about Darby from a national scale. So if you want to consider that homegrown, yeah, but technically that's not homegrown because someone like a Roman Reigns is a homegrown star from WWE because he started in WWE. Jungle Boy, I thought Jungle Boy, yeah.
Jungle Boy one.
Yeah. I don't know about star though, but yeah.
Someone said Kurt Angle WWE home.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree, Mike. MJF became a star in MLW, and people were talking about MJF way before he came to AEW. Like, as he was coming into AEW, people knew who MJF was. They didn't know what MLW was. They knew who MJF was. They heard the buzz about MJF. He was way over, because I wasn't a big. I mean, I watched MLW, but I wasn't like a weekly avid, a MLW guy. But I knew who MJF was for sure. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. He was over. I mean, he was, and there was some things going on with him and Jericho. Beforehand, like there was some Twitter stuff going on. He was over. He was definitely over. So, let's see, just real quick before we hop off. Yeah, the NXT UK Championship is really nice. I agree, Ricky. The Corbin storyline is hilarious. Dude's hilarious. Yeah. Michael's got a good point here. The monthly pay-per-view basically put an end to long-term storytelling. Good point. Unfortunate, but good point. I talked to Dundee about Bobby Eaton. I haven't talked to him since then. No, I should give him a call. Riding with Russo airs. We recorded and they post we record an interview and they post snippets throughout the end of the week, typically throughout actually they've been doing it more at the beginning of the week. So just really kind of just subscribe to the Sports Heater Wrestling YouTube page, Aaron, and it'll pop up. You'll see when it pops up.
I gotta give my condolences, man. Beautiful Bobby, who one of my all-time favorites. I mean, Midnight Express. Anybody knows, like, my third favorite after the Road Warriors and the Rock and Roll Express. I got the honor to meet Bobby Eaton a couple of times. I got a picture with him, Stan Lane and Cornette, back in like 2019, I think. And it was a man of few words. Eaton, I'm sorry, Bobby Eaton was a good guy, man of few words. Said nice, he was cool. Everybody loved him in the business. I got a chance to talk to him for like 15 minutes, and I know he was dealing with some health issues, so definitely want to send condolences to him. And
definitely.
Also, our buddy Nick Patrick, his dad, the late great Jody Hamilton, the assassin.
Yep. I actually talked to him on the phone last week, and I texted him. So yeah, it was. The promoter Bert, what's his name? Bert Person. He did the Sting Moment of Truth movie. Bert Princeton. I'm trying to think of his last name. Long-time wrestling promoter passed all within a day or so. So definitely, a buddy of mine, this lady texted me, said Max Caster got suspended by AEW. Yeah, he got suspended. Yeah.
Which I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean,
yeah, it's the
world has become so much jelly. I understand people do things because of PC reasons, but come on, man.
I get it. But at the same time, it's like you just don't. I don't think it was necessary. There's a point. There's a part of me that's like, okay, well, heels are heels. It's getting heat. When do you draw the line? Like, as far as how much is too heat? When do you draw the line? But then at the same time. It's all about making sure the network is happy, so that's what it's all about.
Do you think they did it to save face because he already had heat with the whole Domino's thing with the pizza cutter? And
that was Nick Gage. Well,
you see what I mean? Like
Tony Khan had heat.
Yeah.
No. No, I don't think it's the save face. I think I don't think it's save face because of that. I think it was. I think there was a save face for his company as a whole. I mean, like he didn't want to just get any heat with with certain people. But I mean, I get it, man. I get it. I get it. I'm not mad at it anyway. Either way, honestly, I understand either way. If he would have stayed, I would have understood. If he, suspended, understood. I think that suspension is a good middle ground between that. And to be honest with you, I mean, you know, they weren't really booking the Acclaim that strongly anyways. And so, like, I mean, he drew heat, you know, I mean, unfortunately, at the expense of a couple controversial things. But I mean, when is to draw the line? I mean, if someone was in a movie and brought this up, or if someone was in a comedic set, you know what I mean, and brought it up, will they get as much heat as Castor is? You know what I mean? So you kind of got to think of it that way too. So
let me go here real quick. Elvis Martinez asked Evan, why are the Steelers better than the Ravens? Did I just see that? Let me write this down. Was the Steelers better than the Ravens when there was no such thing as Baltimore Ravens? Yes. In the 70s, yes. The 80s, the Steelers sucked. The early 90s, they sucked. The mid 90s, they were cool. They got their bus whipped in the Super Bowl. Then you get to the AFC Central in the beginning of the millennium, up until about 2 years ago, the Steelers was a great team. Give them credit. In their whole history, they only had 3 coaches. They had Chuck Noll, they had Jaw, Face, Coward, and they had Mike Tomlin. Give them credit. Ravens, in our history, we won 2 Super Bowls in a short period of time. Steelers was not a better team than the Ravens the past couple of years, even though they had a better record. They just had a high start, then they got the bus whipped. And by the way, we almost beat your Steelers last year with a third of our team and a backup quarterback. And Big Ben is held by duct tape. So I respect the Steelers. 6 rings, I get it. It took y'all about almost 50 or so years to win your first Super Bowl. It took only us, but maybe 4 or 5 years, in 96 to 2000. That's 4 years, okay? So Steelers not going to be better than the Ravens for like the next 7 to 8 years.
Yeah, I don't see that because Lamar Jackson's doing his thing, man.
Yeah, not at all. So pretty much the AFC North is going to be ran by my man Lamar and the Ravens, Baker Mayfield and the Browns. The Browns still going to be the Browns, and they're just going to keep being inconsistent, just like Raw's storylines and Raw's actual formats. It's going to be hot 1 minute, then cold the next.
Yeah,
Thank you very
50-50.
50-50 booking.
Let's end on this. Let's end right. Let's end with this. Did you hear that Ric Flair wants to wrestle again for one more ride?
Did I?
That's smart. He's 71. He's actually 72. And so I don't know. I mean, he's obsessed with the business, man. He's obsessed with the pro wrestling business. Ric Flair taking a bump at 72 is a heart attack waiting to happen, man. I think that's a terrible idea. Although Dundee's still doing his thing, and Lawler, both of them are still wrestling.
Dundee, Bill Eadie.
Yeah. I mean, Eadie though, like he's kind of like struggling, you know.
We understand. Shout out to Bill. Mike Ryan, I got you on that bet. Do you want to have a
Dundee and Lawler? Like they still look good, man. They still look good in the ring. So
you know, now we got football talk. Yes, the Chiefs have the Ravens. The Ravens almost beat them a couple times. They are the team to beat right now. We got it. Patty Cake Mahomes. We all cool. I'm gonna see how many people were Chiefs fans before Patty Cake Mahomes. When he had my man, the GOAT to me, Joe Montana. Now he lost the 49ers and he was on the Chiefs in 1994. He was on that Sega Genesis football game. Yeah. Joe Montana football, whatever it was called, because I owned it as a kid. Raiders are cool. Chiefs, if you was a Chiefs fan back in the day with Priest Holmes and quarterbacks that you don't even remember besides Joe Montana to come talk to me. Same way with the team. Seahawks, let me see you be a fan. When they had what's my name? Not Jake Delhomme, Hasselbeck.
Yeah.
Matt Hasselbeck.
Yeah, Matt Hasselbeck. Yep. Last minute thoughts on Flair before we hang out.
Flair's gonna do it. Flair is wrestling to the day he died.
He's going to AEW, man. Never Tully. Tag team one more time.
Yeah, one more time, baby. We're going back. One more time, Tully.
I hope not.
8-man tag, baby.
You got
you and FTR, baby. Woo.
Is Flair gonna do a bump? You know what's gonna happen. Tully, you know, friend of our shows who we've interviewed. Tully still can go a little. I mean, that slingshot suplex.
Oh yeah, he wrestled in AEW.
Yeah, remember he did the slingshot suplex. It was like
yeah.
5 miles per hour.
I could see FTR, Flair, and Tully against like Darby, Sting, and like two other wrestlers,
Breaking Barry window.
like Moxley and Eddie Kingston or something like that.
Wait, the Roland is gonna be leaking in the wheelchair.
Oh Lord, no! It's gonna be a special referee.
It's stuff, man. Think about the years you got on. Tully, Flair, Sting, roll out Luger. This somebody get a cab for Barry Windham. Oh man, yeah, that's no. We do not need Flair against Sting. Bad enough we saw Sting against Hogan. Remember that TNA?
I don't want to see. I don't want to see
Bound for Glory.
That Bound for Glory match was horrible. Yeah, it was horrible.
You know what? We should review that next week.
Oh my gosh! Oh, it was so bad. It was so bad.
And yeah, I'm sure if Sting fought Taker at Mania, it would have been better than Goldberg and Taker.
Oh, it definitely would have been better for sure. Yeah, but Sting won that match at Bound for Glory. He wouldn't have won any WrestleMania match against the Undertaker. That match was so bad.
You gotta go back and watch it.
That was one of Sting's worst matches I've ever seen.
I think Sting against Nails in that one pay-per-view was a Slamboree. The whole match he just choked them.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was when he was the prisoner or something. What was his name?
Yeah, it was a prisoner. Yep.
Yeah.
Because Hogan, because Flair. What was it? It was the NWO Hogan. He said Flair won't be there. Sting will be stung. Luger will be stung. Flair won't be there. And Arn won't be Arn anymore.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Ric Flair back.
What's coming, man.
Him coming back to AEW at 72 years old.
Are they gonna bring in Brett too?
God. They did. They did, but he's not wrestling anymore.
What about that Brett versus Vince match from Mania? Brett wrestled in.
That was rough too. No, but even before that though, he won the U.S. Championship for the Miz, like doing that.
Yeah, he tripped on the top rope.
Yeah, just. I'm like, why? What are y'all doing? Like, that was like, was that a part of like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We're going to give you the U.S. title, and I think he relinquished it, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he didn't even lose it back. Like, that was just a weird type of decision, like during that run. If I'm not mistaken, they made him like commit like GM or something like that, and because of that, like he had to relinquish the title. Let me find that out real quick. I'm almost positive he gave the title up after he won it. Let me see. Brett's. Yeah, he gave it up. Yep, because he became general manager. Yep. He kept it for a week, ladies and gentlemen. He gave it up a week later after he beat the Miz. The next week he became GM and it gave him the title. Whoa. Who books that stuff? What is? I don't understand it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. 489 episodes in the books, ladies and gentlemen. Fun time as always. He is Evan Tech Prout. I am Dr. Chris Featherstone. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, PNP Nation. Follow me at Chris Prolific, as always, tech_UTMR, as you see right underneath his face. Listen, 489 in the books. On behalf of the Pancakes and Powerslams Nation, enjoy Ricky Wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I do it for you, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Have a good one, everybody. No.